Hi, Keith and Steve with Brownells here, and we're bringing you another gun from the vault. Today, it's the 1951 Beretta 9mm automatic pistol. Keith, we've got 3 of them out here.
Yes, sir.
And this is a kind of a innovative design for the Italians. This was the first lock-breech gun Beretta made.
Yep, and first 9mm.
Yeah, because up to then they'd all been blowbacks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sure were. They brought this out trying to get a military contract, trying to get the Italian Army to adopt it. But the Army didn't, but the Navy and the police did.
Okay.
So it was a pretty successful design for Beretta, and the Egyptian Army adopted it and went into production licensed from Beretta as the Helwan.
Right.
And then was manufactured in Iraq as the Tariq.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of those Helwans came into the country too.
Yes, sure did.
As surplus. And these were surplused out.
Yep.
So they were used by police,
yes,
weren't
these were used by the Carabinieri, which is a section of the Italian military. Okay. Instead of just being regular police, they're more of the military side.
Well, apparently the Italians were impressed with the 9mm round following World War II.
Mm-hmm.
They had a 9mm during World War II, the Glicenti, right?
Yes. Which
was kind of a low-powered 9mm?
Right. It's basically the same size as a 9 Luger, but just low-powered because it was a blowback.
Right. If you put a real 9mm parabellum round in one of those, it probably wouldn't be too good for it.
And there was the 1915 Beretta, which was a blowback, but they just weren't very popular and didn't go along very far. Right.
So a lot of Italians were armed with like 32s.
Yes,
during
32.
The war.
That was the mainstay pistol, was the 1935, 1934 Beretta.
Wow. So this must have been a major increase in firepower for them.
Yeah.
This is really something. It's a long design. And I guess you could say they were heavily influenced by the Walther P38.
Yes.
At least as far as the lockup goes.
Yes, very much. You can see a lot of the Walther influence with the slide, the barrel, the lock right here, your breech block.
In fact, I've got the top end of a Walther here. Take that out. And it's got that locking block pivoting up and down. So they're very, very similar, except I noticed the Walther is a whole lot more robust. I mean, it's much bigger.
Yep, it's quite a bit bigger. The Beretta, I mean, these were cool guns, very innovative design, but the locking block was the weak link in these. Right. They had a tendency to shear off. I don't know if it was because of using 9mm Luger or 9mm NATO cartridges, which was a higher pressure, or what, but along the way, they did some changes and updates to these to kind of help negate that issue. And somewhere in the late 70s, early 80s, they come up with a design which was a wide slide or wide steel slide that increased the thickness of that over the standard.
Right. This one has the narrow style slide.
Yep.
And that one's noticeably wider. If you look at the wall there and compare those.
Yeah. Yeah, there's 100 thousandths difference thickness, 50 thou on each side.
If you look at the actual walls right next to the frame there, you'll see one's much thicker than the other. And I guess if you look at the back end, behind the grip, you can see it very easily there too.
Yeah.
And that adds a lot of metal to it.
Yeah, quite a bit heavier. It changes the balance and the feel of it.
Sure. Changes the recoil impulse too, I'll bet.
Sure does. That takes a little bit of wear off of that block. And then in the mid-70s, they did another change, which they changed this block up. Just some minor changes in there, changed the guide rod up. But this one right here is a 1988 gun, which is supposedly Beretta stopped making these in 1980.
That's what yeah.
But this is manufactured in 1988, which is using the standard locking block and the standard guide rod. So there was some neat things going on in between there. And also, the very first batch of these, or first couple of years, were using an alloy aluminum frame. And they didn't hold up very well, so around 1954-55, they went to a steel frame. Then it's around 75, they went back to an aluminum frame for a while. Then they moved back over to a steel frame again.
These must have been designed ground up for civilian type ammo though. Whereas that P-38 looks like it was designed to take whatever they happened to find in the field.
Yeah.
They could cram in the magazine.
Yeah, they were more of a refined handgun right here versus the P-38. I mean, Italy had a pretty standard production run of ammo where they didn't have to worry about sourcing it from wherever and whatever. And whereas like the Germans during World War II, they were kind of scrambling for whatever they could get.
Right. Now, unlike the P-38, this is a single action.
Yes, single
pistol.
action.
It's got a couple of features I'm not too crazy about. One is this cross bolt safety. That's like on an 870 shotgun. Push it back and forth. Push it out from the right side to the left, and it's on safe. Push the left side in, and you're ready to fire. The other thing is the magazine release is down here. It's a button you push in on the heel. And I'm not so sure that it isn't less convenient than the P-38 with the heel retainer. I don't know. It takes some getting used to.
Yeah. Now, to me, I kind of like the safety up here because if you have it on safe or fire, you can come over with your thumb, with the knuckle of your thumb, and just put that in.
I mean, it's in the right spot where you can keep your hand on the gun. And then you got your slide release here, where it's very accessible. And it's a comfortable gun in your hand. It really is. Not quite a Browning high power, but it's close.
Yeah.
And it's much thinner.
Yeah, single stack magazine. They weren't into double stack. They didn't come along to the Beretta 92.
That's right. Which shares some features with this, including the lockup and some other things. But all in all, not a bad design. An all-steel gun made for heavy use and pretty elegant looking in its own way.
Yeah, this was a very forward design for 1950, 51. They put a lot of work into these.
They sure did. And those synthetic grips, those are a little Walther-like too.
Yeah.
So, but it's got that open slide, you know, that Beretta trademark, which really does look cool.
Yeah. Very neat guns.
Yeah. So that's the Beretta 1951, sometimes called the Brigadier when it was exported to the U.S. Really great design. We're happy to share it with you. And if you have any other guns you'd like to see, please let us know in the comments. We'll do our best to accommodate you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time when we bring you another gun from the vault.